We tend to think of ourselves as finished architectures. We look at a buried seed, a snake resting in the grass, or even a child's face, and assume a stable, permanent identity. The Greek roots of metamorphosis tell a different story. Meta, beyond or after, and morphé, form. It describes a rupture in the structural nature of an object. True metamorphosis begins when an existing shape becomes too small or too rigid to contain the life inside it. It is a response to constriction. For a new configuration to emerge, the old version of oneself must first enter a state of crisis. The structure must break. Modern culture treats transformation like a voluntary lifestyle choice, but historically, humans have viewed metamorphosis as something ambivalent and terrifying. Sudden physical aging, the necessity of migration, or the collapse of a system can force an identity rupture without our permission. The world shifts, dragging us across the threshold. Franz Kafka documented this loss of control. In The Metamorphosis, Gregor Samsa wakes to find his humanity replaced by an insect form. The story asks whether Gregor became a monster, or if his new shape simply exposed an alienation that already hollowed out his life. This is the first stage of the process, being detached from the past with no path to the future. Metamorphosis always begins with a symbolic death, a moment where the rigid, protective shell of the old self completely shatters. From the outside, a chrysalis looks like an act of waiting, but inside that shell, the caterpillar's body undergoes a violent, invisible decomposition. Anthropologists call this liminality. It is the threshold stage of a ritual where a person is no longer who they were, but they have not yet arrived at who they will be. The caterpillar's body literally digests itself into raw biological material. Human identity does the same during a crisis. The old self melts down into its constituent parts. We exist without the armor of a defined identity. Because this feels so unmoored, we often mistake this transition for failure or permanent stagnation. Yet this profound silence and lack of forward momentum are often the completely necessary, hidden work of the chrysalis. This creates a paradox. If our bodies, beliefs, and relationships change, can we claim to be the same person who started the journey? The philosopher Heraclitus argued that identity is the process of change itself. We are the flow of the river, not the water passing through it. In Ovid's Metamorphoses, humans are transformed into trees and stones. These new forms act as a memory of their human struggles, proving that the exterior world retains the marks of what the interior self endured. Metamorphosis uses the remnants of the old self to forge a consciousness capable of surviving a new reality. When the threshold is crossed, emergence begins. The result is a reconfiguration of existence that was previously impossible. This architecture of change applies to entire civilizations. Rome transformed from a city of brick to marble, then to a landscape of ruins, and finally to a modern capital. Each layer sits directly on the remnants of the last. We are currently adding a new digital layer to that history. Just as Rome's architecture shifted to suit its evolving needs, the integration of artificial intelligence and global networks is building a new structure for the human mind. Whether we are looking at a city or ourselves, the logic holds. To remain who we are, we must possess the courage to stop being who we were. Look at your own life. Identify the habit or the role or the relationship that has become too small to contain you. But remember, true transformation always starts quietly in the dark, long before the results can ever be seen. You are in the threshold. The only question left is, what are you becoming?